Hi everyone, this is a quick week 3 overview. Yes, it's week 3 already. So with week 3, these are the course competencies that we're going to be covering. Some of these we're just touching on. For example, identify different types of software. We're just beginning to introduce that and touch on that. The system security and privacy issues, same thing, kind of touching on that. The one that we'll go into depth on is identify common hardware components of computer systems and describe their uses. This one we introduced last week and you did an activity around it and learned some information. But this week you'll actually go into more detail and actually do an activity that will force you to learn the terminology and be better familiar of the computer components. And then finally with Microsoft Office, we'll be diving in and starting with Microsoft Excel this week. Coming up next, the week 3 live session will be a different time this week. You notice I have not put it in yet. I've got to work with Patricia and figure out a different day. I'm not able to do Wednesday, which may be good for those of you that work. So we'll come up with a different day and time, and then I will post that here as soon as we know. So the main activity you're going to be doing this week is learning about the common operating systems. We will touch on the most common. There are many others, so you can explore. Feel free to do that. But I've got several videos listed here. And this Windows 10 beginner guide, even though it's a beginner guide, make sure you watch it because sometimes there's things that you just don't use, so you don't know about, or you've never had to do it, so you've never looked it up. You could probably still learn something. And then there's top 20 tips and tricks. Below that one, you can go into the Mac OS. And if you're an Apple user, you'll want to do this one. You've got a Mac OS with the top features, kind of an intro, and then the Mac tricks, just like we did with the Windows video. If you have the time, watch all of the videos, but I realize you may not have the time to do it. It's just, if you can watch them all, it just better informs you. It helps you to be a little bit more computer and technology literate. So, but if you don't have time to watch all the videos, pick out the operating system that you use the most and make sure you watch the videos for that one. So if you're more of a mobile user for Apple, then there's a video there. And if you're an Android user, there's a video there for you. So you'll watch those videos. And then after you do the video, you will do another Flipgrid. And with this Flipgrid video, you just are going to talk about the experience. Because after watching the operating system videos, I want you to try out some of the features that you learned. So pick out 2 of the 3 things that caught your attention or you didn't know about, or there's something you can learn from it. Try it out, and then that's what you're going to reflect on your video. So in the video, you're going to put which operating system video did you select and watch and learn more about. What was the feature that you didn't realize existed? Now you're trying out 2 or 3 of them for the activity, but for the reflection video, you only need to share one. Just share the one thing that you learned or liked or didn't like, and then share what you learned and what you liked or didn't like about it. There is a rubric there, so you can see how we'll be scoring that. Then the next activity, with this one, you don't have any videos to watch. You learned some information last week, but then there's also an article. So this week you get to read an article. It's 31 common PC building mistakes to avoid. So it's just information on if you're to build your own computer, what do you need to know and what should you avoid doing? With that, you are going to build your dream computer. I know in the last activity last week that several of you mentioned that your computer's old, you need a new computer. So you're well aware you need a computer. But instead of just getting what you can afford at the moment, go ahead and build that dream computer. What if money was no obligation, what would you get and what would you put into it? Then there's a list of the components that I want you to include in that document. So this can just be a document. You can put it in a Google Doc, you can put it in a Word doc, and then you'll upload that file to this assignment. But you're going to list the components like the processor, the RAM, the type of hard drives, the operating system, type of ports. But you can see the list here, so make sure you have that information in there. And then there's also a rubric down here to kind of help you as far as what will be scored and how it is scored. So that one, Build Your Dream Computer, you can do it from scratch by just putting it into a Word doc, but you can also go, if you want to, you can also go to a website where it allows you to build a computer, like the Mac websites, the HP websites. There's just a lot of the game computer websites. They'll let you go in and at least start building it using their kind of check boxes, or the kind of the basic build, and then you can customize it. So feel free to do that and then just save that down to a Word doc. Either way, you can build it from scratch, just putting everything in on a Word doc, or you can go to a website and use their tool to build. Following that, you will get into the Microsoft Office activities, and there'll be 1 or 2 tutorials to get you ready to start working with Excel. And then you'll start the Excel project. The Excel project will not be due this week. It's a little bit in depth, and don't get overwhelmed. You're going to be working with a budget sheet that does zero budget. Patricia and I have both worked with students and just our own school experiences. Like, you get out of school, like all of your education, and no one really taught you how to budget money or what it even means to budget money. A lot of times you learn that at home from your own family. So with this project, we're just giving people an opportunity to play around with budgets and learn how to use an Excel spreadsheet to do a budget. And this is a budget sheet that always kept coming up with my students. So I've been doing CIS 105 now for about, I think I'm starting on year 4. And this is a budget sheet that students kept pulling up and using and like. So that's why we're using this one. I've got the information here as far as how to do it, but we'll go in more depth. So with the live session, we'll kind of get you in and get you started with that Excel sheet, but you're more than welcome to get started. Please don't be overwhelmed when you open it up. We purposely picked a Excel sheet that's kind of advanced so you can see what the possibilities are, and then you're actually going to make the sheet better by putting in some formulas for calculations on money spent. So look forward to that. It will be fun. It will be challenging, but hopefully worth your time, worthwhile. I know I had one student one year that actually determined by the end of the course that she was not going to move out on her own. Her budget sheet was, the whole point behind the activity was to determine if she wanted to go ahead and move out of her parents' house and get an apartment and live on her own. And after the activity, she decided that going to concerts, having money to go to concerts, was more important than moving out and living on her own. So hopefully you can do the same, where the budget sheet will help you figure out or make a financial decision, or probably better inform a decision, not really, make the decision. And then finally, toward the end of the week, I think actually on the weekend, I'm going to make this, it's a quiz format, but it's not a quiz, it's a survey. And it's about how are we doing? And with the how are we doing, it's just checking in with you to see what's working, what are you struggling with, what would you like us to do different or try to do different if it's possible. So it's just a way to get feedback from you as far as what are you enjoying, what are you not enjoying, and how can we improve the course. I know it's a bit early, but it is an 8-week course, so it's like the survey will go live toward the end of this week, so you're completing it between week 3 and 4. That would still give us 4 weeks to kind of make some adjustments if we need to. That is it for the week, and we will see you online. Look for the dates and times once we get it posted for the live session. All right, have a good week. Don't hesitate to ask questions, because things might get a little bit harder for some of you. So please ask questions if you have them.